The inciting incident, humanity's first contact and betrayal. The stars twinkled innocently in the night sky above New Geneva, Earth's premier spaceport and home to the United Earth Government's headquarters. Dr. Ilara Chen stood on the observation deck, her dark eyes fixed on the pulsing red dot that marked the approach of the Galactic Council's delegation. After decades of watching and waiting, humanity was about to take its place among the stars. Nervous? A deep voice asked from behind her. Ilara turned to see Admiral Marcus Donovan, his weathered face creased with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. She offered a small smile. Terrified. Actually, we've dreamed of this moment for centuries, and now it's finally here. Marcus nodded, his steely gaze fixed on the approaching ship. Let's hope they're as benevolent as their messages claim. The sleek, silver vessel of the Galactic Council touched down on the landing pad with barely a whisper. A hush fell over the gathered crowd of dignitaries and journalists as the ship's airlock cycled open. 3 figures emerged, tall, willowy beings with iridescent skin and large, almond-shaped eyes. "Greetings, people of Earth," the lead alien spoke, its voice melodious and androgynous. "I am High Counselor Zixari of the Galactic Council. We come in peace and with an offer of friendship." The next few weeks were a whirlwind of diplomatic meetings, cultural exchanges, and technological demonstrations. Humanity marveled at the advanced capabilities of their new galactic neighbors, while the aliens seemed genuinely impressed by human creativity and resilience. But as the initial euphoria faded, Ilara began to notice discrepancies. The aliens were selective in the technology they shared, always holding something back. Their questions about Earth's defenses and resources seemed a little too pointed. Her concerns came to a head during a private meeting with Zixari. The alien's demeanor had changed, becoming cold and calculating. "You've made remarkable progress for such a young species," Zixari said, its tone condescending. "But the galaxy is a dangerous place. For your own protection, we've decided to place Earth under the direct supervision of the Galactic Council." Ilara's blood ran cold. Supervision? What exactly does that entail? Zixari's lips curled into a mirthless smile. "Nothing too drastic. We'll simply be taking control of your government, resources, and military. It's for the greater good, you understand." "That's not protection," Ilara spat. "It's subjugation. Humanity will never agree to this." The alien's eyes hardened. "I'm afraid you don't have a choice. Even now, our ships are moving into position around your planet. Resist, and we'll be forced to make an example of your species." Ilara stormed out of the meeting, her mind racing. She had to warn Admiral Donovan and the rest of the UEG. As she rounded a corner, she collided with a small figure, a human child, no more than 10 years old, who had wandered away from a tour group. "I'm sorry, miss," the boy said, his eyes wide with wonder. "I just wanted to see the aliens up close." Before Ilara could respond, Zixari appeared behind her, flanked by 2 armed guards. The alien's gaze fell on the child, and a cruel smile spread across its face. "Perfect timing," Zixari purred. "Perhaps a demonstration of our resolve is in order." Everything happened in a blur. The guard seized the boy, who cried out in terror. Ilara lunged forward, but a burst of energy from Zixari's weapon sent her sprawling. She watched in horror as the alien leveled its weapon at the child's head. "Let this be a lesson to your species," Zixari announced coldly. "Obedience or extinction. The choice is yours." The weapon discharged with a sickening hum. The boy's body crumpled to the floor, lifeless eyes staring at the ceiling. Ilara's anguished scream echoed through the halls of the spaceport. In that moment, something fundamental shifted in the universe. The aliens had made a fatal miscalculation. They thought this act would cow humanity into submission. Instead, it had awakened something ancient and terrible, a primal fury that had slumbered in human DNA since the dawn of their species. As alarms blared and chaos erupted throughout the facility, Admiral Donovan's voice crackled over the emergency comm system. His words were calm, but filled with a steely resolve that sent chills down Ilara's spine. "This is Admiral Donovan to all Earth Defense Forces. Initiate Protocol Lazarus. I repeat, initiate Protocol Lazarus. The sleeping giants are to be awakened. May God have mercy on our souls, because we will show none to our enemies." Ilara staggered to her feet, her grief transforming into cold fury. She knew what Protocol Lazarus meant: the activation of humanity's greatest secret, a weapon of last resort hidden away for centuries. As she raced towards the command center, explosions rocked the spaceport. The battle for Earth had begun, but the aliens were about to learn that humanity was far from defenseless. In the depths of space, ancient sensors stirred to life. Deep within the asteroid belt and the moons of the outer planets, massive hangar doors began to open. Humanity's vengeance was about to be unleashed, and the galaxy would never be the same. The ancient fleet awakens. Deep within the hollowed-out core of Ceres, largest of the asteroid belt's dwarf planets, klaxons blared to life for the first time in centuries. In a cavernous hangar bathed in red emergency lighting, rows of sleek, predatory ships began to power up, their hull plates shimmering with an otherworldly iridescence. Captain Zara Vega's eyes snapped open, the cryostasis fluid draining from her pod. As consciousness flooded back, so did the memories, the wars, the sacrifices, and the terrible decision to hide humanity's true might from the galaxy. "Status report," she croaked, her voice hoarse from disuse. The ship's AI, responded immediately. "Captain Vega, Protocol Lazarus has been initiated. The Titan fleet is awakening. Earth is under attack by an alien force identifying themselves as the Galactic Council." Zara's jaw clenched as she absorbed the information. This was the moment they had prepared for, the nightmare scenario that had haunted humanity's dreams for generations. Time to remind the galaxy why they should fear the dark, Zara said, a grim smile playing across her lips. "Awaken the crew and begin pre-launch sequences. We've got a planet to save." As the Titan fleet stirred to life, events on Earth spiraled into chaos. The Galactic Council's ships hung in low orbit, their weapons trained on major population centers. Zixari's voice boomed from every communication device on the planet. "People of Earth, your pitiful defenses have been neutralized. Surrender now, and we may yet show mercy. Resist, and we will turn your cities to ash." In the depths of the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Donovan stood before a bank of screens, coordinating Earth's apparent capitulation. But his eyes gleamed with a fierce determination. "Just a little longer," he muttered. "Keep them talking until—" His words were cut off as proximity alarms shrieked to life. On the main view screen, a massive portal tore open in space near the moon. From its swirling depths emerged a sight that made even the hardened admiral's breath catch in his throat. The Titan fleet had arrived. Hundreds of ships poured through the portal, their designs unlike anything seen in the modern galaxy. At their head flew the flagship Prometheus, a vessel that dwarfed even the largest of the Council's ships. Its hull rippled with barely contained energy, weapons ports glowing with eldritch fire. On the Prometheus's bridge, Captain Vega stood tall, her eyes blazing with the light of vengeance. "All ships, this is Captain Vega. You know why we're here. These alien bastards thought they could come to our home and threaten our people. It's time to show them the error of their ways. For Earth, for humanity. No mercy." The Titan fleet accelerated, their advanced drives allowing them to cross the vast distance to Earth in mere minutes. The Council ships, caught completely off guard, scrambled to form a defensive line. Zixari's voice, now tinged with panic, echoed across the communication channels. "Impossible. Earth has no such technology. Stand down immediately or face the full might of the Galactic Council." Zara's laugh was cold and devoid of humor. "Oh, we're way past standing down, you sanctimonious squid. You came to our home. You threatened our people. You murdered a child. Now you get to experience what humanity is truly capable of when pushed too far." The battle that followed would be spoken of in hushed whispers across the galaxy for generations to come. The Titan fleet moved with impossible grace, their weapons tearing through the Council ship's defenses like tissue paper. Exotic energy beams, gravitational weapons, and swarms of self-replicating nanite missiles overwhelmed the alien vessels. On Earth, Dr. Ilara Chen watched the space battle unfold on the command center screens, her heart pounding with a mixture of awe and trepidation. The sheer power displayed by humanity's hidden fleet was staggering. "My God," she whispered, "what have we become?" Admiral Donovan's voice was solemn as he replied, "What we had to, Doctor. What we had to." In orbit, the battle reached its crescendo. The Prometheus bore down on Zixari's command ship, its weapons puncturing the alien vessel's shields with surgical precision. Captain Vega's voice rang out across all frequencies. "This is Captain Zara Vega of the Earth ship Prometheus. Your fleet is in ruins, your invasion thwarted. Surrender now, or be destroyed." For a long moment, silence reigned. Then, Zixari's voice, now trembling with fear, responded, We surrender. Please, show mercy." Zara's eyes narrowed. "Mercy? Like the mercy you showed that innocent child?" "I don't think so." She turned to her weapons officer. "Target their engines. Let's give them a taste of the fear they tried to inflict on us." A lance of pure energy erupted from the Prometheus, spearing through Zixari's ship. Secondary explosions blossomed along its hull as it began to list, crippled but not destroyed. "This is your one warning," Zara broadcast. "Withdraw from Earth space immediately. Spread the word to every corner of your precious council. Earth is off limits. We are not your subjects, your slaves, or your victims. We are humanity, and we will forge our own destiny among the stars." As the remnants of the Council fleet limped away, a cheer went up from every corner of the planet. Humanity had faced its first true extraterrestrial threat and emerged victorious. But in the command center, Admiral Donovan's expression remained grave. "It's not over," he said softly. "This was just the beginning." Ilara nodded, understanding the weight of what had transpired. "The galaxy now knows we're here, and what we're capable of. What happens next?" Donovan's gaze turned to the stars visible through the viewport, his voice filled with grim determination. "Now, Dr. Chen, we take the fight to them. The Galactic Council thought they could subjugate us. Instead, they've awakened the sleeping giant. It's time for humanity to claim its place in the cosmos." As the Titan fleet took up defensive positions around Earth, Captain Vega's voice crackled over the comm once more. "Admiral Donovan, the Prometheus stands ready. What are your orders?" Donovan straightened, his eyes gleaming with the light of a new dawn for humanity. "Prepare for deep space deployment, Captain. We're taking the battle to the heart of the Galactic Council. It's time to reshape the galaxy in humanity's image." The die was cast. Humanity had revealed its true strength, and the stars themselves seemed to tremble at the implications. The age of human subjugation was over. The era of human dominance was about to begin. Humanity strikes back. The vast expanse of space rippled and tore as the Titan fleet emerged from FTL, their sleek hulls gleaming in the light of an alien sun. At the head of the armada, the Prometheus hung suspended, its weapon systems humming with barely contained energy. On the bridge, Captain Zara Vega surveyed the holographic display of the Galactic Council's home system. Her dark eyes narrowed as she took in the formidable defenses arrayed before them. "Quite the welcome party," she mused, a predatory smile playing across her lips. "AI, battle analysis." The AI's cool voice filled the bridge. Council defenses include a multi-layered energy shield grid, automated defense platforms, and approximately 3,000 ships of various classes. Our technological advantage remains significant, but we are outnumbered. Zara nodded, unsurprised. Quantity has a quality all its own, but quality still trumps quantity. All ships, this is Captain Vega. Execute Operation Thunderbolt. Across the Titan fleet, crews sprang into action. Ships began to split apart, unfolding like deadly metallic flowers to reveal swarms of smaller craft hidden within. In moments, the fleet had tripled in apparent size. On the Council's capital planet of Action Prime, alarms blared as the defensive grid registered the sudden multiplication of enemy contacts. In the Grand Assembly Hall, representatives from 100 species devolved into panicked shouting. High Counselor Zixeri, stripped of rank but brought to testify about the Earth debacle, watched the chaos with a mixture of fear and grudging admiration. "So this is humanity unleashed," he muttered. "What have we awakened?" The Council's supreme commander, a hulking reptilian being named Krasful, roared for silence. "Deploy all ships. Activate the planetary shield. We will crush these upstart humans and remind the galaxy why the Council has ruled for 10,000 years." But as the Council fleet moved to engage, they found themselves outmaneuvered at every turn. The Titan ships moved with impossible speed and coordination, their weapons punching through shields that had withstood the tests of centuries. On Earth, Dr. Ilara Chen and Admiral Donovan watched the battle unfold through quantum-entangled communications. Ilara's face was pale as she witnessed the devastation. On Earth, Dr. Ilara Chen and Admiral Donovan watched the battle unfold through quantum-entangled communications. Ilara's face was pale as she witnessed the devastation wrought by humanity's hidden fleet. On Earth, Dr. Ilara Chen and Admiral Donovan watched the battle unfold through quantum-entangled communications. Ilara's face was pale as she witnessed the devastation wrought by humanity's hidden fleet. "Is this truly necessary, Admiral?" she whispered, her voice tight with emotion. "The loss of life." Donovan's expression remained stoic, but his eyes betrayed a flicker of regret. "War is never without cost, Doctor. But remember what they were willing to do to us. Sometimes, the only way to ensure peace is to demonstrate that the price of conflict is too high." Back in the Council system, the battle raged on. The Prometheus carved through the enemy formation like a knife through butter, its advanced point defense systems swatting aside incoming fire as if it were nothing more than an annoyance. Captain Vega's voice rang out across the fleet channels. "All ships, push forward. Target their command and control nodes. Let's cut the head off this snake." As the Titan fleet pressed their advantage, a new threat emerged. From the surface of Action Prime, massive energy beams lanced into space, catching several human ships off guard. The beams punched through their shields, leaving them listing in damage. Planetary defense grid activated, Araya reported, detecting dark energy signatures consistent with antimatter weaponry. Zara's eyes widened. Antimatter. They would risk using that so close to their own world. She shook her head, a grim smile forming. "Desperate times, I suppose. Araya, prepare the Excalibur Protocol." On the planet's surface, Krastal allowed himself a moment of satisfaction as he watched the human ships falter under the assault. "See," he roared to the assembled council. "They bleed like any other. We will crush these interlopers and remind the galaxy of our supremacy." His triumph was short-lived. The Prometheus suddenly accelerated, diving straight toward the planet. Council ships scrambled to intercept, but the human vessel's speed was beyond anything they had ever encountered. "What are they doing?" Zixeri muttered, a cold dread settling in his stomach. "They'll never penetrate the planetary shield." As if in answer to his unspoken question, the Prometheus began to glow with an otherworldly light. Space itself seemed to warp around the ship as it plummeted toward Action Prime. In the assembly hall, panic set in as the representatives realized what was about to happen. Krasful bellowed orders, but it was too late. The Prometheus struck the planetary shield like a cosmic battering ram. For a moment, it seemed as if the barrier would hold. Then, with a sound that defied description, a hole opened in the shield, a hole that rapidly expanded outward. Captain Vega's voice, cold and clear, echoed across all frequencies. "Action Prime, your defenses have fallen. Your fleet is in ruins. Surrender now, or face complete annihilation." In the stunned silence that followed, Zixeri stepped forward. "I speak for the Galactic Council," he said, his voice trembling. We surrender, unconditionally." The next few hours were a flurry of activity as human troops deployed to the surface, securing key locations and rounding up council leadership. Captain Vega herself strode into the assembly hall, her presence radiating power and authority. For too long, the Galactic Council has ruled through fear and manipulation, she declared, her voice carrying to every corner of the vast chamber. That ends today. Earth is not your subject or your colony. We are not here to conquer or subjugate. We are here to claim our rightful place among the stars. She paused, her gaze sweeping across the assembled aliens. A new era begins now. An era of true cooperation, of mutual respect and understanding. Those who embrace this new way will find in humanity a staunch ally. Those who cling to the old order, her eyes hardened. Well, you've seen what we're capable of. As news of the Council's defeat spread across the galaxy, reactions varied wildly. Some worlds celebrated the fall of their oppressors. Others trembled at the thought of this new, terrifyingly powerful player on the galactic stage. On Earth, Admiral Donovan and Dr. Chen watched the aftermath unfold. "What now?" Ilara asked softly. Donovan's gaze was fixed on the stars visible through the command center's viewport. "Now, Doctor, we build. We learn. We grow. The galaxy is vast, and there's so much out there we don't understand. But one thing is certain. Humanity will never again be at the mercy of those who would seek to control us." As the Titan fleet secured their victory and prepared for the challenges ahead, a new chapter in galactic history began to unfold. Humanity had announced its presence on the cosmic stage in the most dramatic way possible. The age of human expansion had begun, and the stars themselves seemed to burn a little brighter in anticipation of what was to come. The balance of power shifts. In the months following humanity's shocking victory over the Galactic Council, the political landscape of the known universe underwent a seismic shift. The fall of Axiom Prime sent shockwaves through every corner of the galaxy, toppling regimes and igniting revolutions on 100 worlds. On Earth, the United Earth government found itself thrust into a position it had never anticipated, de facto leaders of a significant portion of the galaxy. The responsibility weighed heavily on those in power, none more so than Admiral Marcus Donovan. "We've opened Pandora's box," he mused, staring out at the bustling activity of New Geneva's spaceport. Ships of alien design now docked alongside human vessels, a visual representation of the new era dawning. Dr. Ilara Chen, newly appointed as Earth's chief xenodiplomat, stood beside him. "Perhaps," she agreed, "but we've also created an opportunity for real change. The old order was stagnant, corrupt. Now we have a chance to build something better." Their contemplation was interrupted by a priority alert. A holographic display sprang to life, showing Captain Zara Vega's face. Her expression was grave. "Admiral, Doctor, we have a situation developing in the Orion Arm. The Vex Imperium is making aggressive moves, trying to fill the power vacuum left by the Council's fall." Donovan's brow furrowed. The Vex were an ancient machine race, long content to observe from the shadows. Their sudden activism was troubling. "What are we looking at, Captain?" "They've activated dormant fleets in several systems," Zara reported. "We're seeing signs of forced assimilation on frontier worlds. It's like they're trying to expand rapidly before we can consolidate our position." Ilara's mind raced. Considering the implications, we need to respond, but carefully. We can't afford to be seen as conquerors ourselves. Donovan nodded, his decision already made. "Agreed. Captain Vega, deploy the Titan fleet to the Orion Arm. Show the flag, but avoid direct confrontation if possible. Dr. Chen, I need you to reach out to the neutral powers. It's time we started building some alliances." As humanity scrambled to address this new threat, other forces stirred in the darkness between the stars. On a distant world of eternal twilight, A conclave of shadowy figures gathered. "The humans have upset the balance," one figure hissed, its voice like grinding stone. "Millennia of careful manipulation, undone in a matter of days." Another, taller figure stepped forward, its form seeming to shift and waver. Perhaps they have presented us with an opportunity. Chaos breeds possibility, after all." A third voice, this one soft and melodious, cut through the murmurs. "Regardless of our opinions, the contingency has been activated. The last protocol is now in effect." A ripple of unease passed through the gathering. The last protocol was never meant to be implemented, a fail-safe so extreme it bordered on the unthinkable. Back in human-controlled space, the Titan fleet moved with purpose through the star systems of the Orion Arm. Captain Vega stood on the bridge of the Prometheus, watching as yet another world came into view. "Life signs?" she asked, her voice tight with concern. Araya's response was immediate, detecting approximately 3 billion sentient life forms. "Biosigns are fluctuating. Evidence of widespread cybernetic integration." Zara's jaw clenched. "The Vex. They're assimilating entire populations." She turned to her communications officer. "Hail the planet. All frequencies." The view screen flickered to life, revealing a being that was more machine than flesh. Its voice, when it spoke, was a discordant blend of organic and synthetic tones. "Greetings, humans. You have arrived too late. This world is now part of the Vex Imperium. Resistance is illogical. Join us in perfection, or be erased." Zara's eyes narrowed. "We're not here to join you or to be erased. We're here to give you one warning. Cease your expansion immediately, or face the consequences." The Vex entity's expression didn't change. It couldn't, but its tone grew colder. "Your victory over the Galactic Council was impressive, but ultimately meaningless. We are eternal. We are inevitable. You cannot stop the march of progress." As the transmission cut off, Zara turned to her tactical officer. "Arm all weapons. Prepare for orbital bombardment. Target their control nodes and convergent facilities only." The officer hesitated. "Captain, there are billions of civilians down there." Zara's expression was grim. "I know, but they're not civilians anymore." Zara's expression was grim. "I know, but they're not civilians anymore. They're drones in a hive mind. If we don't stop this here, the Vex will consume everything in their path." She took a deep breath. "Commence firing." The Prometheus shuddered as its main guns unleashed hell upon the planet below. Lances of energy and swarms of smart missiles rained down, targeting the massive structures that housed the Vex control nodes. The planet's surface erupted in a series of blinding explosions. As the bombardment continued, Araya's voice cut through the tension on the bridge. "Captain, I'm detecting a massive energy buildup in the planet's core. It appears the Vex are initiating some kind of self-destruct sequence." Zara's eyes widened. "All ships, emergency jump. Get us out of here now." The Titan fleet engaged their drives just as the planet below them detonated in a cataclysmic explosion. The shockwave buffeted the ships, but their advanced shields held. As the fleet regrouped at a safe distance, Zara stared at the debris field that had once been a thriving world. Her voice was barely above a whisper as she gave her next order. "Get me Earth. They need to know what we're up against." Back on Earth, the news of the Vex encounter sent shockwaves through the UEG leadership. Admiral Donovan paced the war room, his face ashen. An entire planet just gone. And for what? To deny us a victory. Dr. Chen's voice was soft but firm. "To send a message, Admiral. The Vex are showing us that they're willing to go to any lengths to achieve their goals. They don't think like we do. Life, death, individuality. These concepts may be meaningless to them." Before Donovan could respond, a priority alert flashed on the main screen. It was a transmission from one of the neutral powers, the Aquilian Confederation. Their ambassador, a being of living crystal named Zin-Ra, appeared on screen. "Greetings, leaders of Earth." Zinra's melodious voice resonated. "We have observed your conflict with the Vex Imperium. Recent events have concerned us. We request an immediate conference to discuss the future stability of the galaxy." Donovan and Chen exchanged glances. This could be the opportunity they needed to start building those alliances. "We would be honored, Ambassador," Donovan replied. "We'll prepare a delegation immediately." As preparations for the conference began, reports flooded in from across the galaxy. The Vex were on the move, their fleets pushing outward in all directions. Frontier worlds fell silent, one by one. Other powers began to mobilize, fear of the machine race overcoming old rivalries. In the depths of space, aboard the Prometheus, Captain Vega received new orders. Her ship, along with a small task force, was to escort the Earth delegation to the neutral meeting ground. As she reviewed the mission briefing, a sense of unease settled over her. "RIA," she called out. "Run a deep scan of the surrounding space. Look for any anomalies, no matter how small." The eye was silent for a moment, then responded with an unusual note of concern in its synthetic voice. "Captain, I'm detecting faint traces of an unknown energy signature. It doesn't match anything in our databases." Zara's instincts, honed by years of combat, screamed danger. "Battle stations. All hands, prepare for." Her words were cut off as reality itself seemed to tear open before the Prometheus. A massive ship, unlike anything they had ever seen, emerged from the rift. Its surface crawled with shifting patterns of light, and it radiated an aura of ancient, terrible power. A transmission crackled across all frequencies, in a language that was somehow understood by every being that heard it. "Children of the stars, your strife has awakened us. The last protocol is enacted. Prepare for judgment." As alarms blared and the crew scrambled to battle stations, Zara realized with a sinking feeling that the Vex might not be the greatest threat they faced. Something ancient and unfathomable had stirred, and the fate of not just humanity, but all life in the galaxy, hung in the balance. The next moves they made would determine the course of galactic history. As Captain Vega stared at the impossible ship before her, she knew that the true test of humanity's resolve was only just beginning. Humanity's place in the stars. The emergence of the ancient, godlike entity sent shockwaves through the galaxy. As news spread of its arrival and the cryptic message of judgment, panic gripped countless worlds. The Vex Imperium halted its expansion, its machine logic unable to compute the new variable. The various alien races, once at each other's throats, now found themselves united by a common existential fear. Aboard the Prometheus, Captain Zara Vega stared at the impossible ship before her, its surface still writhing with patterns of unnatural light. Her voice was steady as she addressed her crew. "All hands, hold your positions. Do not, I repeat, do not fire unless fired upon." The tense standoff lasted for what felt like an eternity. Then, without warning, a beam of pure white light engulfed the Prometheus. Zara braced for destruction, but instead found herself elsewhere. She stood in a vast chamber that seemed to stretch infinitely in all directions. Beside her materialized Admiral Donovan, Dr. Chen, and representatives from every major galactic power, including a Vex unit and the crystalline form of Ambassador Zinra. Before them stood a being of pure energy, its form constantly shifting and changing. When it spoke, its voice resonated not in their ears, but directly in their minds. "We are the precursors," it said. "We seeded this galaxy with life eons ago, watching and waiting as you grew and evolved. We had hoped you would learn to coexist, to cherish the gift of consciousness. Instead, we find you embroiled in conflicts that threaten the very fabric of space-time." Admiral Donovan stepped forward, his voice firm despite the awe he felt. "With all due respect, if you're so powerful, why didn't you intervene sooner? Why allow suffering and conflict to persist for so long?" The beam's form rippled, a sensation of sad amusement washing over the assembled representatives. "Free will is the greatest gift and the greatest curse. To intervene too soon would have stunted your growth, prevented you from reaching your full potential. But now you stand on the precipice of either greatness or oblivion. The choice, as always, is yours. Dr. Chen's scientific curiosity overcame her fear. What exactly is this judgment you spoke of? What happens now? The precursor's form coalesced into a swirling vortex of stars and galaxies. You will be tested, not by us, but by yourselves. Can you overcome your differences? Can you work together to face the challenges that lie ahead? Or will you tear yourselves apart, squandering the gift of existence? As the being spoke, visions flashed through the minds of all present. They saw glimpses of possible futures, worlds ravaged by war and destruction, but also worlds of unimaginable beauty and harmony. They saw the Vex Imperium's cold logic tempered by organic compassion, creating a synthesis of life and machine that birthed wonders beyond imagination. They saw humanity's drive and creativity unleashed across the stars, inspiring other races to reach beyond their limitations. The precursor's voice echoed in their thoughts. The universe is vaster and more wondrous than you can comprehend. There are threats lurking in the dark between galaxies that would extinguish all you know without a second thought. But there are also marvels waiting to be discovered, mysteries that could uplift your consciousness to new planes of existence. The beam's form began to fade, its final words reverberating through the chamber. You stand at a crossroads. The path you choose will determine not just your fate, but the fate of countless civilizations yet to be born. We will be watching, hoping, but no longer interfering. The future is in your hands. In a flash, they all found themselves back where they had been, as if no time had passed. But each of them knew, deep in their souls, that everything had changed. On Earth, in the halls of the United Earth Government, Admiral Donovan addressed the assembled leaders of humanity. His voice carried the weight of one who had glimpsed eternity. "We've been given a chance," he said, "a chance to prove that we're worthy of the cosmos. The challenges ahead are greater than anything we've faced before, but so are the possibilities." Dr. Chen stepped forward, her eyes shining with determination. "We need to reach out to the other races, to the vexed, to everyone. We need to share what we've learned, to build bridges instead of walls. The precursors showed us potential futures. It's up to us to make the best one a reality." In the following weeks and months, a great change swept across the galaxy. The Aquilian Confederation, moved by the visions they had seen, proposed a Galactic Concord, a new organization dedicated to cooperation and mutual defense. To everyone's surprise, the Vex Imperium was among the first to join, their logic circuits having calculated that synthesis and cooperation offered a higher probability of survival than conquest.